out there. There are some of them. Boy, we scared people in small towns. For those of you that have followed us on the Weather Channel this spring, it was a lousy spring until June 5th. And this is our vantage point of the big tornado. And I like to take pictures showing the entire storm.
Sure.
So you saw the close-ups of the Weather Channel. Now you'll see the far-away pictures. Wall cloud tornado, flanking line. That's what it looks like. And there it is, roping out. And so look in there. Whoop. 3 radars. This is the W-band radar. Taking a picture, scanning this tornado. And there is the UMass X-pole collecting data. Talk about a success. And this is what I'm most happy about. This is the MWR-05XP. MWR stands for Meteorological Weather Radar. 05 means it was actually initially built in 2005. It's X-band and it's phased array. This is what the most exciting radar I've ever used. It's from the Naval Postgraduate School. It's converted military radar. And it scans electronically. And it was converted for us to look at tornadoes. There's a 2-degree beam width, so you have to get close. For those of you who know anything about phased array radars, it uses phase shifters to electronically scan. So instead of having the antenna scan mechanically, it scans electronically. And you can scan electronically at the speed of light. Right? You can scan electronically really quickly. The way this radar works, I have to spend a minute telling you how it works. That's really clever. It scans electronically in elevation. So basically, it takes a sweep in the vertical instantaneously. In azimuth, it can only go 6 degrees. If I wanted to do a full phased array, I'd have to have a giant antenna. You can't fit a giant antenna on the truck. But it mechanically scans at 180 degrees a second. Okay, you've seen radars, I think, scan. They go something like this. This goes like this. Whoopie-doo. just goes right around like that. And what happens is, it scans mechanically in azimuth, but it backscans in the opposite direction electronically, so the beam is frozen. And it sends out, it uses frequency hopping, so we can get enough samples to get a good signal. The upshot of this is, in 2008, we were able to scan an entire storm every 12 seconds. And in 2009, during VORTEX2, we were able to scan an entire storm every 6 seconds. How long does it take next, Rad? 5 minutes? 4 minutes? The Doppler and wheels take several minutes. 6 seconds. All right. Here's some data hot off the press. I just made this slide last week. This is, the bottom picture is from the X-pole. And there you see the hole in the middle of the tornado. And this is the phased array data. Here's the vortex couplet. But I want you to appreciate the fact that we have data, not just at low elevation, but the entire storm every 6 seconds, from before the tornado formed till after it dissipated. I'm not going to say that we're going to learn an extreme amount, but we're going to learn a lot, I think. My graduate students will anyway. Okay, let me just show you the animation. You can watch the hook. This is just before the tornado when it's forming. Watch for the formation and watch for that vortex couplet to get closer and closer every 6 seconds. Now you can see the donut hole, and look at how close the vortex couplet's getting now. Now we've got a nice tornado. Notice how it's getting closer to the radar. The tornado came within 5 kilometers. And there it's coming. This tornado and it's weakening quite a bit there. But nevertheless, you can still see a vortex come up, but it's very, very weak here. It's in the rope station. Okay. So, let's go ahead. Okay. 2008 was the first time we got the whole life cycle of a tornado rapid scan radar. These are every 12 seconds. I don't want to show you this in detail, but at this time, it goes green to yellow. In 12 seconds, we get blue to yellow, blue to red. Look at how rapidly it's changing. You know, this is every 12 seconds. And you can see the tornado, the vortex couplet gets stronger and stronger. I also changed the scale. Now we're jumping up to 48 meters per second. Now we jump to 56 meters per second. Now we jump to 64 meters per second. So 64 meters per second, it's 128 knots, increased it by 15%. So 140 miles an hour, something like that in this tornado. There's the vortex couplet. And it reaches 72 meters per second at this point. And the core is accompanying the whole volume. And then, I don't want to show you the whole thing, but then it dissipates. So we get the whole life cycle. So my graduate student, Mike French, I know one of his friends is here, is looking at this data set. I want to show you something really bizarre. In another tornado on the same day in 2008, there's a cyclonic vortex signature, red to purple, indicating a tornado. But there's an anticyclonic vortex signature right next to it. Sound familiar? Look what happens. Let's go through this. Green to red. That's like that. That's an anticyclonic vortex signature. And I'm going to skip ahead, but at this point, 35 meters per second, so it's like an F0 anticyclonic tornado. There's the cyclonic tornado. And it's still there. Just pointed that vortex signature there. It weakens. And then it disappears, but this is at the beginning and this is at the end. Cyclonic tornado, anticyclonic vortex. Later on, cyclonic tornado, anticyclonic vortex. The anticyclonic tornado rotated around the cyclonic tornado. That's pretty bizarre. I think this happens more often than we know. The very next day near Mullen, Nebraska, this is another supercell storm. This is earlier in VORTEX2. This is just a typical gust front squall line. May 7th, Forest City, Missouri. I never thought I'd see anything this clear in Missouri. Never been to Missouri storm chasing before, but there's a classic supercell approaching us. And we had the phased array radar. We could see the hook forming, and the hook was coming right towards us. And then I could see the hook was going to miss us by a couple of kilometers. So I said, let's stay here, because if a tornado forms, we're going to get a good data set. Unfortunately, just as the hook moved by, the giant hail started coming. And this is melted. This is 3 inches across, 1, 2, 3, and that's already melted. So we were getting a lot of baseball-sized hailstones. We had to turn the radar off and face the antenna the other direction. The hail nearby in Forest City, or on the other side of Forest City, some of my colleagues, who I think are competent, measured 5 to 6 inch diameter hail.